Hello and welcome to today's webinar on database stats, doing it right the easy way. We thank you for taking the time to attend, and we hope/know that you'll find this time useful. My name is Hayden and I work with UK Oracle User Group to deliver webinars and content such as this one. Today we're extremely grateful to welcome Neil Chandler, our host, with over 30 years experience in IT and also our elected board member for UK Oracle User Group. Should you wish to get in contact with Neil, his email is on the screen and will be at different points throughout the webinar, or you can reach out to me and I can put you in contact with him directly. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what us as UK Oracle User Group do to support you all, our community. We deliver content through webinars, meetups, events, and conferences relating to all Oracle applications and technologies. Whether it's a problem with said technology, news about the latest updates, or to make better informed decisions when deciding your journey, we as your community can help. Being independent from Oracle means we deliver unbiased content and provide honest solutions to your problems. We throw around 50 events a year, have over 700 organisations as members, and have over 750 resources for you to use at your own leisure. Whether you want to meet like-minded individuals, hear from the experts, or put forward content to help others, we are the user group for you. Just to highlight some of our upcoming events, we have our annual OUG Scotland event on the 12th of June, which you'll see on the screen. We'll be hosting 6 streams of content, including sessions on database, middleware and development, Apex, business analytics, cloud, and on-premise. I've highlighted some of the sessions that might be of interest to you on the screen, but if you wish to view the full agenda, the link is available for you on the bottom of the screen. You can also get in contact with us as well, or just visit our website. It is all on there for you. Next up, the 2nd of July marks our next technology summit, our Southern Tech Summit. After the success of Midlands Tech, we are very, very excited to launch this. If you do wish to speak at the event or know someone that would be great too, then please do follow the link on the screen. This is a call for content and all submissions will be considered and reviewed by our committee. Partner of the Year awards are approaching as well. This is the chance to highlight and reward exceptional partners, your clients. Nominations close on Tuesday the 7th of May at 5 o'clock. There are 15 different categories that partners are able to nominate themselves in. Make sure you nominate yourself and get the chance to be a UK Oracle User Group Partner of the Year. It's a great evening. It's a great way to highlight your success. Adjudication as well. We need customers to adjudicate the nominations. You only need to adjudicate the nominations from your area of expertise, and it takes no longer than an hour to do so. If you would like to know more about membership or what other events we do have coming up throughout the year, then please don't hesitate and get in contact with me. My email is at the bottom of this screen. However, you will receive an email from me post-webinar too, so you can just respond to that and I can hand over more information. Now, lastly, before we get started, just a few housekeeping rules. If you do have any questions, please use the question box. It should be in the bottom right of your screen. Again, if you can't hear or if you can't see properly, please just type in there as well and we'll try and fix the problem for you. Neil will be taking questions at the end, but if you feel like popping up a question as it goes on, please just send it to me and I'll send it to Neil immediately. Following this webinar, you will receive an email which has a link to the live recorded of this webinar, so you can share that with your peers and colleagues as well. Without further ado, I shall hand you over to the main man, Neil himself. Bear with me.
Well, hopefully you can see my screen now.
Can indeed, Neil. Thank you very much.
Oh, good, good, good. Right, well, without any further ado, let's get started on this. Okay, welcome everyone. Quite a few of you. My name's Neil Chandler. I'm an independent database consultant working in IT, as Hayden said, for over 30 years. Not quite sure how that happened. I'm an Oracle ACE director. That just means I like doing webinars and speaking at conferences. Doesn't mean I'm an expert at anything. And you can see some links there to my blog, my Twitter handle, and if you want to contact me directly, my email address. I am available for consultancy, weddings, bar mitzvahs, and all of that. Okay, let's move on. So I think to start, we'll just have a little video. Now, there are a couple of technical problems here. So you can't hear the sound. So hopefully you can at least hear that. Right, well, enough of that nonsense. A long time ago, there was the rules-based optimizer, which is how Oracle optimized our SQL queries. Now, this was deprecated in 10G, also a long time ago, but it's still kind of used by Oracle themselves. Now, the rules-based optimizer didn't know anything about the shape of your data. Now, what it used to do is just follow some rules based upon how you coded your SQL and added some heuristics in to determine the best access path for your data. And those heuristics are probably the original source for the full table scan is bad myth. Because if you look at the list of heuristics, I see the one at the very bottom, the last one it will pick would be full table scan. Of course, it is a myth. Full table scans can be very useful. And it is actually still used a little bit. Here's some SQL which I pulled out of a 19C running piece of a database recently, and you can see they're still using the rule hunt in there. And it's actually quite a useful little tip, is that if you're having any problems querying your data dictionary and it's a bit slow, you might want to try the rule hint, because the dictionary was originally written to follow a good practice, and that can actually speed things up a bit. Worth a try. But now we use the cost-based optimizer. So the cost-based optimizer uses a parsed representation of your SQL statement, which it plugs into the optimizer, and then it reads statistics. And you can see also this is a two arrow, so we also update statistics to generate multiple plans, compare them, and finally you get the plan with the lowest cost, and that's what it will execute for you. Now, what are these statistics? Well, that's rather a lot of statistics, so I'm going to concentrate on 4 of these tables a little bit to talk about, but you need to know that when you're looking at table statistics, that's kind of the same as partition or sub-partition statistics and so on. Now, this is kind of a large and mostly unreadable slide, so let's not bother doing that. And I'm going to kind of skip through this start part a little quickly, mainly because I wrote this presentation over the course of the last week or two, and it's a bit too long. So hopefully you'll stick with me through it. So table statistics. So you've got the number of rows in the object. That gives you its relative scale, which probably help Oracle determine the driving table. You've got the number of blocks held in there. Now the number of blocks is directly related to the I/O, which can tell you how fast it will take to read the whole table. We'll talk about the sample size later. Last analyzed, how up-to-date are your statistics? And we've got global stats. Now, user stats. Were the statistics entered directly by the user? Did you actually ignore Oracle and think you knew better and put your own statistics in? Are the statistics locked? Now, if you've locked your statistics, it means that they wouldn't be gathered automatically by the automated Oracle jobs. We've got stale statistics. Now, stale statistics tell Oracle to gather the stats based upon a percentage change in your data. That's a default of 10%, and you can actually see just how many updates, inserts, and deletes you've done to your data in DBA tab modifications. But you will need to flush the stats out first. They'll tell you the command later. And in 19C, we've got a new column, which is notes. And there's some notes regarding some special properties of the statistics. And I'll hopefully have some time to talk about 19C at the end. Okay, column statistics. So as well as statistics at a table level, we've got them at a column level. So we've got the number of distinct values in a column. We've got the highest and lowest values in the column, and this is a very important statistic for Oracle. Oracle likes to know what the very lowest value and the very highest value in any column is, and it uses that to estimate the cost for getting to that any particular input variable. So it requires a little further explanation because Oracle have got this effect called statistical decay. And I'd like to illustrate it here and explain it a little bit. So let's say we've got a table, it's got a date column, and we have in there 15 days worth of data from the 1st of April at the low end up to the 15th of April at the high end. If we do a query against that, it may say, well, the cost for pulling back the 13th of April may be, say, 150. I use that number just so it's easy for the maths. Now, if we query outside of that high-low range from the 1st to the 15th of April, Oracle will say, well, there's an increasingly small chance that your data is actually there. So I'm going to reduce that cost, and I'm going to reduce it in a linear fashion over the same amount of time. So if your high-low is, in this case, 15 days, because it's a date column, then it will reduce it over 15 days. So that means if we query the 20th of April, that's well outside our range, and it'll reduce the cost by a third. If we query the 25th of April, it'll be down by yet another third, so down by 2/3, and the query cost will be down to about 50. And if we query the 30th of April off the end, it will drop the cost down to 1. Now that can have an effect, because if your stats are very out of date and you've got lots of queries which are a long way above your high value in this case, then it will think, well, there's very little chance of getting any data here. And if it does that for, say, 10 index columns, how will it know which index to pick? Because if all of the indexes are reporting a cost of 1, that's going to be a problem. It's going to make life difficult for Oracle to determine the best index for you. And of course, it's not just over the high value, it's the same distance over the low value as well. And that's statistical decay, and I'll refer to that later on. Also on column statistics, we record the density, which is the percentage of the table that will be retrieved for any specific value. And it is this value unless you have a histogram on the table. I'll talk about them later. Number of nodes and sample size we'll cover later, and histograms I'll cover in a couple of slides. But this will basically tell you what sort of histogram and how big it is. We've also got index statistics. The number of rows in the index, again, giving it its scale. The number of leaf blocks, and that'll tell you roughly the size of the I/O for the index. We've got the number of distinct keys, which can give you the percentage of the index to be used for any individual key. The leaf blocks per key and the data blocks per key will tell you how much it's got stuffed into each leaf block there. And then we've got the clustering factor, and the clustering factor is a little more difficult to explain, but it basically means how aligned is the index to the data in the table. Can we reread a table block for the next index value? So you reuse the same table block, which is of course a big advantage for I/O. Now, if the clustering factor is close to the number of table blocks in an index, then it's regarded as being a good index. Whereas if the clustering factor is close to the number of table rows, it's thought of as being not such a good index and less selective, and Oracle will look at other ways of access paths rather than picking a not so good index. And you can only change your clustering factor by reorganizing and reordering the table. Rebuilding your index is not going to help in this case. Now from 12.1, or there's a patch number on there for how to get this back into 11.1 and 11.2, Oracle have introduced a statistics option called table cached blocks. And basically what table cached blocks does is it allows your clustering factor to become more realistic, because by default, it's a little bit too pessimistic. So my recommendation would be to set your table cached blocks to a higher number than 1. 16 is probably a good starting value. that seems to provide a nice balance and give you some very good clustering factors. Improve your clustering factors, make